There are certain MMA fighters in other organizations who have great talent, where the UFC definitely needs to bring them on board to their roster. So here is 10 MMA fighters the UFC needs to sign in 2018. Number 10. Antonina Shevchenko is a women's bantamweight fighter who currently holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 3-0. She's the older sister of top UFC contender Valentina Shevchenko, where both sisters have a very heavy background in Muay Thai. Both sisters have competed in both Muay Thai and kickboxing, where they have a great deal of experience to bring with them into mixed martial arts. I believe after a few more wins, the UFC will definitely give her a chance on their roster. With the UFC women's bantamweight division lacking in new faces, Antonina Shevchenko definitely has the style to give the UFC bantamweights a lot of trouble, and hopefully we can see her sign with the UFC in 2018. Number 9. Israel Adesanya is a middleweight fighter who currently holds an undefeated professional mixed martial arts record of 11-0. He has a heavy background in both boxing and professional kickboxing, where his experience has had a positive impact on his MMA career so far. All of his 11 victories have come by violent finishes, where it will be interesting to see how he would do against the elite middleweights of the UFC. I believe if he keeps building his MMA career, he will definitely get the attention of the UFC, where hopefully we can see him inside the octagon in 2018. Number 8. Jorge Torres is a flyweight fighter who currently holds an undefeated professional mixed martial arts record of 6-0. He's the only fighter in Titan FC to win both the flyweight and bantamweight titles. He's very quick for the division, where it will be interesting to see how he would match up against the UFC flyweights. He was offered a UFC contract early in 2017 but declined due to injuries. Hopefully he can come back better than ever and sign with the UFC in 2018. Number 7. Mackenzie Dern is a women's strawweight fighter who currently holds an undefeated professional mixed martial arts record of 5-0. She's just 23 years old and has competed in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu competition all across the world, and even holds a grappling victory over Gabi Garcia. I believe once she gets more experience in MMA, she will definitely be a force to be reckoned with. I believe her high-level grappling will give the UFC strawweights a lot of trouble if she ever signs with the UFC in the future. She recently signed with Invicta FC, where after a few wins, I believe the UFC will definitely take her on board in 2018. Number 6. Michael Page is a welterweight fighter who holds an undefeated mixed martial arts record of 12-0. He's an exciting fighter who likes to showboat inside the cage, frustrating his opponents to attack, and has been compared to Anderson Silva many times. He most famously knocked out Evangelista Santos with the flying knee in the second round at Bellator 158. In 2017, he competed in his first professional boxing match where he won the fight by knockout. I believe he will definitely bring a lot of attention if he ever signed with the UFC, and it will be interesting to see how he would do against the welterweights of the UFC. Hopefully, we can see him sign with the UFC in 2018. Number 5. Raphael Cavallo is a middleweight fighter who holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 15 wins and 1 loss. He is the current Bellator middleweight champion who has looked very dominant in his past 5 fights. He is an aggressive Muay Thai striker who always pushes for the finish whenever he fights, where he has put together a number of violent finishes on his MMA record. It will be interesting to see how he does against the elite middleweights of the UFC, where hopefully we can see him sign with the UFC in 2018. Number 4. Michael Chandler is a lightweight fighter who holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 16 wins and 4 losses. He is the former 2-time Bellator lightweight champion who has crushed fighters violently with his aggressive push-forward well-rounded fighting style. He has been able to gain victories over 2 former UFC lightweight champions in Eddie Alvarez and Benson Henderson. He is a world-class lightweight, where I believe he will definitely be able to compete with the top 10 lightweights in the UFC, where hopefully he can sign with the UFC in 2018. Number 3. Diego Lima is a welterweight fighter who currently holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 29 wins and 6 losses. He is the current Bellator welterweight champion who has just smashed his competition violently. He is one of the most deadliest strikers outside of the UFC, who has viciously finished his opponents, breaking them with his striking skills. He has 3 dominant victories over 3 former UFC fighters in Ben Saunders, Paul Daly, and Lorenz Larkin. His violent fighting style would definitely fit perfect with the UFC welterweights, where hopefully we can see him test himself in the UFC in 2018. Number 2. Gegard Mousasi is a former UFC middleweight fighter who holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 43 wins, 6 losses and 2 draws. He had a great UFC run where he was able to pick up victories over Dan Henderson, Vitor Belfort, Uriah Hall and Chris Weidman. After defeating the former UFC middleweight champion Chris Weidman by TKO at UFC 210, he decided not to renew his contract with the UFC and took a better offer with Bellator MMA. He has a wealth of experience in both professional kickboxing and MMA, where I believe he is capable of winning a UFC world title. Since joining Bellator, he has been able to pick up a win over Alexander Shlemenko at Bellator 185, where he may likely get the next title shot. Gegard Mousasi is one of the elite middleweights in the world, where hopefully we can see him fight in the UFC in the near future. Number 1. Rory MacDonald is the former UFC welterweight fighter who holds a professional mixed martial arts record of 19 wins and 4 losses. He had a great career in the UFC where he was able to pick up wins over Nate Diaz, Damian Maia and the current UFC welterweight champion Tyron Woodley. After losing to Stephen Thompson at UFC Fight Night 89, he decided not to renew his contract with the UFC and took a better offer with Bellator MMA. Rory MacDonald is easily a top 5 welterweight on the planet, who is one of the best tacticians in the sport, who has the talent to win a UFC world title. Since joining Bellator, he picked up a win over Paul Daly at Bellator 179 and will next fight for the title. Rory MacDonald is one of the best welterweights on the planet, where hopefully we can see him fight in the UFC in the near future.